We bring in Kristen Ledlow, who's been covering the Cavaliers all playoffs for us here. Kristen, a very long 2 days between games 1 and 2 for Cleveland.
Yeah, and Jared, you mentioned it. Those unexpected 20 turnovers is what invited all the questions for the Cavaliers following Game 1. Kyrie Irving did go on to address it, saying that there's no way to prepare for the Warriors' offense. You can game plan for them, but no matter how greatly prepared you are, going against them and being in a game is going to be totally different. It was, though, the shortest layover that the Cavaliers had throughout the entirety of the postseason. Coach Ty Lue did tell me that the tone needs to be set in those first 6 minutes with that first unit defensively, that he wants his defense to create his offense and that the mentality has to be to attack first, Jared.
Yeah, the defense held Golden State to just 42%. For them, not all that bad. Thanks, Kristen. But we bring back in Isaiah and Dennis. The problem is that you give them 20 extra shots and they're going to be able to score. And we start with LeBron, and he mentioned the turnovers. He's good about stepping up, saying, I got to be better, Dennis, here. But, we look at his performances against the Warriors in the finals the last couple of years. It directly correlates with turnovers and wins and losses.
And guys, when you look at the turnovers, what bothers me, and Isaiah, I think you're going to love this, I think 5 of the 8, he left his feet to make the pass. And you teach that basketball one-on-one when you're breaking your man down. Try not to leave your feet, find the open man. But there he is, that first play. You leave his feet, the defense knows if you're not looking for the basket, you're looking to pass. Another one, leaves his feet again. How do you change that as a coach to get in his ear overnight?
Isaiah, he's been going through a lot here, LeBron, the last few days.
Yeah, I think, we do have to take into account what he went through right before the game as part of his concentration issues. Not to make an excuse, but that I'm sure that weighs heavily on his mind, just like it did with Isaiah in Boston when we see these type of situations that happen. Now, that being said, when you look at his turnovers, he's their primary ball handler. He's the one that's creating the mismatches. So he's going to have, 4 to 5 turnovers a game. But when you get into 7, 8, 9 turnovers, that's very hard to overcome. Also, when the other players get 1 or 2 turnovers, that accounts for the 20. Now, are those correctable things? Yeah, those are correctable. But can they control the tempo? That's the most important thing. Can they get the type of shots that they want? Can they have floor balance? Can they get back in transition and make Golden State play 5-on-5, just like Golden State is making them play 5-on-5?
Can Ty Lue show him that real quick overnight and say, LeBron, try not to leave your feet, because the defense sees once you leave your feet, they're going away from you back to their man.
Hey, these are correctable mistakes, 3D. You know what I mean? When you come into the locker room as a coach, and we've all sat in that chair as players, and the coach say, hey, we got to get back in transition. Right. Okay, we can do that. Okay, we got to cut down on our turnovers. Okay, we can do that. But this guy, Kevin Durant, who's walking behind us, right? Can we guard him? Coach, I don't know if we can do that.
Well,
when Kevin Durant walks behind you, say, I don't know if we can do that, Coach.
There he goes.
I don't know if I can guard that guy. I mean, I can cut down on my turnovers. Right. I can get back in transition. Right. But number 35,
I might need some help.
I might need some help, Coach.
Well, one constant theme since Ty Lue took over for David Blatt last January has been the tempo, as you guys have been talking about. So Ty Lue addressing the media yesterday with the day off, saying we've got to get back to who we are.
You got to get the favorable matchup and try to take advantage of it, early. But I thought they did a good job with just, shrinking the floor when that happened. And we really didn't have a lot of driving seams, so that forced us into a few turnovers. But we got to get the matchups we like and we want, and we got to take advantage of it just like we did last year.
Okay, I heard that yesterday, and all of a sudden, fire alarms went off. Like last year, the only problem is that big 7-footer you're talking about, Kevin Durant, wasn't there last year.
Yeah, that's the difference, right? What do you do? What do you do with that unicorn? I mean, because he's something that we've never seen in the league. And again, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, he was the MVP of this league, and he was the best player before he got injured. And now that he's healthy again, and then he's got Steph Curry on the other side, and he's got Klay on the other side. I mean, this is something different than anything they've seen last year. However, can you prepare for everything else? Yes. Can you prepare for Durant? No.
Well, let's get into what we think Cleveland might look to try and adjust, right? And you talk about pace and tempo, and that's something that Ty Lue, I think he said it in every press conference he's ever held. But he means something a little different than what we initially think he means in terms of pushing the ball like Golden State or like Houston does. Dennis, for them, pace is making sure you make the defense work. Isaiah touched on that a couple moments ago. And in game one, how about this stat, which to me is staggering? Cleveland took 42 shots in the first 11 seconds of the shot clock. That's great for Golden State. That's an awfully high number for Cleveland.
It's an awfully high number. In those 42, I would wonder how many times was it Kyrie and LeBron, because one of those two, most times we give them passes because that's what they do. But now when you're playing against a great defense with all 5 guys like this, sometimes when Kyrie misses these shots, you look at the shot clock. This is where Golden State Warriors saying this is just like a turnover. Now the floor is unbalanced. Now we get out and run. Now we get easy buckets. The question is, Isaiah, when someone other than Kyrie or LeBron takes that shot, I think it really hurts them worse.
Yeah, it does, because they don't get to their 4th and 5th option. And what Cleveland was good at last year is they made Golden State play their 4th and 5th option. That's what San Antonio does. They make you play their 4th and 5th option. And, you know, they run down the shot clock. They control the tempo. They're able to get back in transition. But when you take those early shots, you're not able to match up. You're not able to get back in transition. And you leave guys like Steph Curry like that wide open for a 3.
So there's this negative cloud when a team loses and they play ISO basketball. But that's how Cleveland became so great and so dominant for the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. I ask you, can Cleveland go back to what they did against Indiana, Toronto, and Boston, and can that style of greatness beat Golden State?
Well, ISO basketball is played everywhere. It's just a matter of who you like, you know, with it in the post or out front, you know, playing pick and roll. So Cleveland definitely can win, you know, with the ball in LeBron James' hands, just like Golden State can win with the ball in Steph Curry and Durant's hands.
Kyle Korver can now be 0-4. I think with Darren Williams 0-3, and then I think J.R. Smith 1-5. At least 2 of those guys have to make a couple more shots to take that pressure off.
We heard so much about Golden State having a depth issue by bringing in Kevin Durant. Well, their others played great. We'll hear from Curry. We'll hear from Durant and get the latest on Steve Kerr when we come back live at Media Availability Day.